Okay. Actual video recording time. Totally bumming it. That's okay. I didn't write anything down or anything, but I'm gonna listen to the audio recording first, and then we can figure out a place to start.
Alright.
I was eating breakfast too. Gross.
Photographic exercises.
All right. Okay, we'll talk about that. All right. Lately, I have enjoyed a really simple photographic exercise, and it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing new. It's nothing extravagant, or this isn't the secret to learning great photography. I mean, learning how to be a good photographer and becoming a better photographer is practice and time. And the exercise that I've been doing a lot lately, especially being locked down in the pandemic and not having a ton of places to go and explore, is just getting outside and walking the same 2 or 3 routes around my neighborhood over and over and over again. It's really great because it's taught me that there is something worth photographing out there, no matter how boring you think where you live or where you are is. This exercise, although it is extremely simple, is a product of the circumstances of the pandemic. Back in March, when lockdown in the United States was really strict, or there wasn't much to do aside from going outside and going for walks. And I had recently moved into this apartment that I'm in now. And it was great because I explored every nook and cranny of my neighborhood. I learned so much. I learned that there are parks everywhere, that there are food spots, that there are little hidden, anomalies, fun things to see in my neighborhood, because that was all I had. The only thing I could do was go out and walk. At the time, I actually had also picked up this book, The Practice of Contemplative Photography. I thought that there were some great ideas in here. After applying all the things that I learned in this book and doing this exercise of just going out and walking these same routes over and over, I understand what this book was trying to tell me a lot more. And the very first chapter is about photography and seeing. It says, "Today it is raining. On a day like this, you might see red, yellow, or green traffic lights reflected on wet pavement. You might see raindrops running down a window pane or hanging from a railing or overhead wire. You might see 2 people walking under a bright green umbrella. You might see a dull gray sky or a wet red truck. Inside there will be soft shadows and muted colors. You might even look through the drops on a window and see the landscape distorted by odd-shaped raindrop lenses. When the sun comes out, you might see patterns of light coming through Venetian blinds. You might see the complex shadows of trees or bright green leaves against darker foliage. You might see the shapes of someone's eyes in profile or the texture of the fabric on the clothing on your leg. You might look up at the bright sky with high, wispy clouds, or notice clumps of light reflected by windows of an office building onto light gray streets. You may observe a dog sitting on a carpet, half in bright sunlight and half in deep shadow. At dusk, the light changes again, and you might see what buildings become orange or pink. As it gets dark, the same buildings might become gray. The sky too will change. If you awake in the middle of the night, the walls and furniture will be monochromatic, illuminated by the moon or a streetlight." You'll never see what that book described unless you go out and shoot and practice and actually get on your feet and walk or drive to a place and physically see. The book talks a lot about seeing, the idea of seeing and what seeing really means. It's not seeing just with your eyes, it's seeing in the context of a photograph. It's seeing the hidden beauty in things. I appreciate this so much more now that I've done my little exercise of just walking the same routes over and over and over again, because it forced me to see. It forced me to see not in the pure physical sense, but it forced me to see beyond what I originally thought was just a boring New Jersey suburb. I think this second part that I want to read here in this book really kind of drives this point home of, seeing art in everyday life. I mean, the chapter is called Art in Everyday Life. I think this page here ties things together nicely. This ordinary, workaday world is rich and good. It may not seem that way at 6 in the morning when you are rushing to pair your coffee or tea and get out the door to go to work, or when you are tired and irritated after dinner and have to take out the garbage. Instead, ordinary life might seem hassled, repetitive, and boring. When you are impatient, resentful, or uninterested in daily life, you will be blind to the potential for living cheerfully and creatively. Life seems repetitive and boring when you don't notice the uniqueness of each moment and the constant, subtle changes that are going on all around you. Even though things usually seem solid and enduring, nothing really lasts a second moment. Our experiences are always in the process of disintegrating and transforming. As photographers, we can know this intimately. Ordinary experience is the raw material for our photographic art. Photographer, writer, and curator Beaumont Newhall wrote, "We are not interested in the unusual, but in the usual seen unusually." Good stuff in that book. I think that about sums it up. So next time, or later today, whenever you get the chance, if you're feeling maybe uninspired or, you don't know what to shoot, go out and shoot everything around you 100 times over. And maybe it'll take 100 times, but eventually you'll begin to develop this ability to see things in a more photographic way. It's worked for me, and I think it could work for you. Thanks.